Hi there, welcome back, beautiful beings. How are you today? How are you feeling? So in this gorgeous video, I wanted to share an experience I had with Somatic Breathwork on Friday. I was trying to remember what day it was. It's taken me a few days to get here to record, so bear with me. But the information that came through, the download that came through, was so beautiful that I feel compelled to share it for others, that it may assist in maybe letting go of something. We hold on to so much and it gets in the way of us living fully, freely, to our fullest potential. So I'll see if I can remember as I went through. So when we started the somatic breathwork, we're asked to set an intention. And in this one, for some reason, we were guided to choose one word. And as soon as, we were told to pick one word, the word that came through for me was peace. And as soon as that word came up, peace, I just fell apart. I just started crying already, We hadn't started the meditation yet, but I was... the breath work, and I was already bawling my eyes out. Peace. And in that moment that I was thinking peace, I was thinking, I am done with being afraid. Like in the last 2-3 weeks, there's a lot been coming up about my mum and about my childhood, the yelling and the smacking and the fear, the underlying fear. I was terrified of her for so long. And when I heard the word peace, that's what came straight away into my heart. I thought, you know what? I'm done with being afraid. I don't want to be afraid anymore. I don't want to be in that space anymore, that I was when I was little. And I still feel it in my body, this fight or flight response I'm always in, the shallow breathing. I find myself sometimes, I'll be doing something and my body will be all tensed up and I stop and I think, why am I tense? It'll be something simple like playing the piano, or editing a video, or it's something simple. And I sit with myself and I find myself that, oh, I'm tight, I'm tense, I'm holding it in my body. Or even with the shallow breathing, I found after I did that somatic breath work and so much was released, I catch myself so many times in the day now and I take a deep breath in and out, and I tell my body that you can relax now, we are safe now, that's been happening a lot the last few days. I just feel like there's been a huge release from my system. So the word peace came up, and with that I kept hearing myself saying, I don't want to be afraid anymore. I don't want to be afraid anymore. I am done being afraid. And what that was bringing up was that child, my child, myself, when I was little. As the somatic breath work progressed, and they take you through different stages. In the first stage, my little one came in, my child, myself, would have been about the age of 7. I could see her clearly. And as she comes in and I'm standing, and first I was facing her, and then she grabbed my hand. So as I am here, she was standing next to me here. So she grabs my left hand and we're both facing forward now. And as because it is it's a guided meditation that they do through this breath work. So as we're going through the guided meditation, we see my mum in front, but she's not physically, I see her face, but it's energy all around, just the face that we can see. And this energy, as we're both looking at her, is very dark energy, and eventually my mum's face fades and we're both just left with this dark energy in front of us, As my mum's face fades, in front of us is my mum at the age of 5. my little one, she turns to me, we start looking at each other again, and she was reminding me of how joyful we were, you know, at one stage through my childhood. And she was reminding me of all the joyful moments of my childhood, you know, that we were quite joyful despite all the other stuff that was going on, you know. And she was reminding me that, yes, I still do a lot of singing. You know, I'll just out of the blue start singing a song that pops into my head, and I'll do that all the time. But what I had forgotten was, as a little one, she was showing me how much I used to love dancing. And sometimes I would twirl like a ballerina in the backyard and pretend I was doing ballet. And sometimes I would just dance to whatever. Whenever I heard music, my body would move, you know, and I would start dancing. And in that moment, I started crying because she reminded me that I had stopped doing that. You know, I had stopped dancing somewhere along the way. I kept the singing part, but I stopped dancing, and my body was feeling that. My body loved to move to the music, you know, however that looked. And I was reminded of that I loved dancing so much. And she was saying to me, you need to start dancing again. You need to remember, you know, that it fills you with joy. It reminds you of the joy that you are, you know, physically. So that was one thing I took away. And then once she gave me all that beautiful information, we both turned again to look at my mum. That was her 5-year-old version of herself. And she was showing us all the joy that was inside of her before she lost her parents, like who she was before all the pain, all the trauma, all the things that happened, you know, in her early childhood. But she was showing us the joy, you know, that's inside of her. She was showing us the love that was inside of her. And in that moment, my 7-year-old went over to her 5-year-old and they hugged, you know, and I could feel in that moment, I could feel their love combined for each other, their joy, you know, I could feel all of these things. It was so, so beautiful to feel in that moment, you know. Anyway, my little one comes back to me and my mum disappears. And again, we're both facing this way, we're both facing forward, and we're both looking at that dark shadow that was there, this dark energy. Now, it felt like a shadow. And in that moment, I saw myself as the little one, as the 7-year-old that was there. And I could see her in front of me, filled with joy and filled with light. And then I could see that this shadow cast half across her face, you know, like she was half in the shadow, and then the joy here. And I had that vision and I sat with it for a moment. And then I turned to my little one and I said to her, you are so brave for what you've been through, I said to her. And I said, and I love you so much, you know, for being so brave and for going through what you went through, because I know it wasn't easy, you know. And so I kissed her forehead and I kissed her cheeks and I kissed her beautiful little hands and I kissed her feet, and then I hugged her, you know, and I told her that I loved her and that I was so grateful for her, you know, for what she's been through. And so we held for a little while, and then we both faced that shadow again, that dark energy that was still there. And together, you know, we said at the same time, I had a real Drop Dead Fred moment. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie, Drop Dead Fred, when, you know, she gets to the end of the movie and she says, I'm not afraid of you anymore. And so together we're both yelling at this, not yelling, but, you know, with empowerment, we're saying to this, this dark energy, we're not afraid of you anymore. We're not afraid of you anymore. We said it a few times, and then we were saying, we are done with this fear. We are done. It is done. You know, we have the experience, we have all the information. We don't need it to be there anymore, you know? And in that moment, I was compelled to put out my hand like that, the hand that I had free, my right hand, because my left hand was holding her, my younger self. And so I'm compelled to put out my right hand. And I just felt within myself I needed to do that gesture. And then this dark energy that was in front started to come into my right hand. I could see it all pouring in, pouring in, pouring in. And it ended up forming this black crystal ball, you know. And as I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, what crystal is this? You know, I just found it quite fascinating. I heard the word onyx, you know, and I'm looking at it. And in that moment that the ball was complete, and I heard that it was onyx, because I'm like really fascinated with what is this crystal, you know. I know it's black, but what is it? In that moment, I felt within me that that is part of me. It is who I am. It has made me who I am today. That fear, that darkness, all of that is part of me now. Genetically, in my DNA, it's, you know, it's in there. It's part of who I am. And it has given me all this gorgeous information for me to be who I am. You know, without it, you know, I wouldn't have all these stories to share that we could resonate on a deeper level. I would have different stories. I would be resonating with completely different people, you know. But I just felt this, I felt whole for some reason. I don't know what it was. In that moment, I felt whole, I felt complete, and I felt at peace. You know, I kind of finally understood that I am light, I am dark, I'm made of all of it. You know, all of it makes who I am. All of it. Not just the good, not just the wonderful times, but all of it, you know. It has given me the wisdom that I have today. And to be honest, you know, every day I wake up and I'm so grateful for the awakening that I've had and for where I am in my life right now, that I think if I were to change one thing, even one thing from the past, that perhaps I may not be where I am here today. So I give thanks for all of it. I wouldn't change a single thing, because being here these past years since the awakening with my daughter's birth has been worth everything I've been through. Everything, every single part has been worth it. I remember one time after my daughter was born thinking, oh, okay, I promised I was never going to smack her and I was never going to yell at her, and I was finding myself yelling at her. And then one day I stopped and I said to myself, but wait a minute. I keep judging that this smacking her is a bad thing. Smacking my daughter, that I would never do that. It's such a bad thing because it made me feel bad when I was a child. But I was looking at myself in that moment and I thought, I really love who I am. I really love my beautiful heart. And I wouldn't change that. So if I needed to go through that to be who I am today, then it's worth it. It was so worth it. You know, perhaps it's made me more compassionate of others. It's made me more empathetic, whatever the word is. It's given me more empathy. I'm not sure what the word is. I like making up words, but empathetic kind of doesn't sound right. Or does it? Well, you know, perhaps it's given me more empathy, you know, to understand others and where they are on their path, and to be able to accept them as they are, where they are, and not need them to be anything else. You know, we need to go through the things that we go through to get to where we are. And not all of it's going to be blissful, not all of it's going to be peaceful and joyful. But where you get to at the end is worth it. You know, it's worth it. It's worth every tear that I've cried in pain and suffering. It's worth all of it. Because I only get to do it here, in this reality. It's the only place I get to have all of this. So know in your heart that that fear, that darkness, that pain, everything you've been through is also a part of you. It has made you who you are. It has given you knowledge, wisdom, compassion for others, for yourself. I don't know what happened after that breath work, but I just felt within myself a huge release, especially of control. You know, like I don't need to control anything anymore. Just be. Go with the flow. You know, trust that I am where I'm meant to be. And that's it. It's that simple. So, my beautiful beings, we hope that this information has blessed you. Within every being is that small child full of love and joy and light. Every being has that within them before the pain, before the suffering, before the trauma. And all of it becomes part of who we are. We need that to be here. There's a reason your soul chose it. All right, my beautiful beings. We love you dearly. Remember to click like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the messages. And we'll see you in the next video. Okay? Bye for now.